Great. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining our Saturday Success Series session. Really appreciate you waking up on a Saturday morning to attend this. It's really great. We're hoping that we will be giving you value in today's session. Let me share my screen so that we can go through this. Okay. So, of course, we start with a disclaimer that says, this session is recorded and we will be uploading this session on YouTube. So then accordingly, judge if you want to be heard or seen accordingly. All right. So now that we've got the legalese out of the way, let me introduce myself properly. I am Shaima Al Sayed. I am an attorney by profession and a trainer by passion. I am managing director of TSGG, but today I am your trainer and coach, taking you through how to end 2024 like a champion. We're going to reflect and assess and understand our stance of what we've done in 2024 and how can we set ourselves and understand what do we need to do in 2025. All right. So then I'll take you through to the agenda. I'm going to introduce IBDA to you, which is the brand of our training in our organization. And then I'll take you through the webinar objectives. What is the importance of reflection? We're going to go through the reflection framework, recognizing wins and shortcomings and understanding the stance. Now, as you see, there is a link which I will put in the chat for you. You can go to this link and download an interactive workbook, which we will be working on in a bit as I take you through it. I would suggest you download it and save it onto your device, on your laptop or your phone, whatever device you're using, because a lot of reflection is going to take place, so you won't be able to answer all the questions in complete details and in the way that it is going to be beneficial to you. But we will have an idea. You can add notes to it. You can just plug in your answers in within the PDF that you download. So I'll give you a moment to access the link and download that workbook. Now, if you're joining from a phone or you're unable to download it right away, no problem. The link will remain live for about an hour or two after the session. So as soon as you are able to, I would suggest please access the link and download that workbook onto your desktop so you can use it later on, reflect and assess and plug in your answers and your notes in there. And since we're going to upload this on the YouTube, you can always go back to the video on YouTube to help you complete this workbook. All right. Now, a little about IDDA, which is the training brand of TSGG. That we basically like to customize our trainings, right? Each of us is different. We work in different organizations. Some are international, some are local, some are just regional. Then there are ones that differ by industry. An automotive industry is different from FCMG or a luxury brand, and it all differs, or even the technology, which is the booming field and industry at the moment. And we want to make sure that our trainings are not off-the-shelf trainings where one size fits all, because it doesn't, right? Things that matter to Nestle is not the same things that matter to Amazon or Google or matters to Nissan or Toyota, right? It is different for each industry, the size of the industry, and even the span of how they work. And we make sure that our trainings are under a cultural awareness of the region. We provide a huge range of trainings from communication, leadership, problem solving. And we also have our 10x business coaching. I am the newest 10x business coach under Grant Cardone. If you don't know him, Google him. I'm not going to get into there, but he has proven strategies that he's been using for over 35 years where we increase revenue, or even your productivity by 30% within 90 days. And we're also introducing now our Saturday Success series, which we will provide sessions like these thrice a month with topics that are of importance to individuals and their careers. All right. And there will be special offers to you guys who are joining us in this December session. So stay tuned. All right. So then what are our objectives in this webinar? We're going to guide you through a structured reflection process to evaluate 2024. We're going to help managers assess teams, their achievements, challenges, and growth opportunities. And we support employees in identifying the wins, shortcomings, and areas of development. All right. And so why reflect? Why is a very important question. If you guys have ever read the book of Simon Sinek, Start With Why. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. Understanding the why of the matters helps you to understand how to do things because you know what you want to reach. So why do we want to reflect on 2024? Because it's going to prepare us for a stronger 2025. If we do not know where we stand in 2024, what we have done, awesome. I'm like, yes, we've done this. All right, let me maintain it and even go to the next step and be stronger, right? And then these are the ones, you know what, I fumbled over. I think I need some more work on it. If you don't understand that, how do you know what you need to do in 2025, right? So this is why we need to take a pause at the end of the year and reflect on our 2024. So what is workplace reflection, all right? Workplace reflection is intentionally pausing. You have to actually have the intent to stop and think about it. And you evaluate your experiences, your actions, and the outcomes. It involves critically analyzing. So, critically analyzing means you've got to be honest with yourself. There's no fooling yourself, no lying. Like, you know what? I think I was awesome. Put your ego outside the door, leave it there. This is you with yourself. You have to critically and be very honest in analyzing your performance, decision making. Did I take the right decision? Did I take it too fast? Did I take my own sweet time and lose an opportunity? Did I get all the data needed, right? Did I ask anyone who needs to be asked before I make a decision? And then interpersonal interactions. I know not everyone is awesome to work with in a workforce, in your workplace. Not everyone is a team player and not many people are bearable. But how do you handle that? How are you able to interact with everyone irrespective of where they sit on your scale of tolerance, right? And then you extract your lessons, you identify your strengths, and then work on the areas to improve yourself for the better. And that would create your 2025 plan. Okay, so what are the key aspects of reflection? You're going to have self-awareness. Like I said, it's you with you. You sit with yourself. You've got to be self-aware. Problem solving and adaptability. I was just talking about adaptability and saying your level of tolerance of certain people versus other people. How much can you tolerate them? And then skills enhancement, knowing what skills are needed in the market. Do you have them? What skills are needed in your specific organization and teams, and how you can enhance them. You improve your decision making, emotional intelligence. I think a lot of people are paying a lot of attention to emotional intelligence, and it is very important. Some people brush over it, but do you know enough and understand enough to create an impact on your career and the people around you? Your career development. Are you happy where you are? You're like, fine, I'm happy with my 9 to 5. I don't want to go anywhere. This is it. As long as I'm being paid and I get my salary, I'm happy. Others, and most people, are very ambitious. You're looking for the next step. Do you know what your next step is? And work-life balance. Now, the word balance to me is a myth. If you say you can't have a work-life balance, your life and your workplace are integrated. You'll come home and talk about your colleagues, either complain or, say, oh, wow, I have this amazing colleague, or we did this. And you go to work and you talk about my family. I will go and say, oh, my nephews, or my sisters, or my brothers, or my, you know, There's no balance, there's no line that you can split. But how do you integrate it in a way that you're not eating out of one, okay, in at the sake of the other, and then you lose one against the other. That's what you really, the integration. So though I think we need to redefine the word balance, the work-life balance, into work-life integration. I'll have another session on that to sort of discuss it better. All right. Now, some of the techniques for workplace is journaling. Usually we write in our diaries, our to-do list, minutes of meeting. We take notes on our projects. You know how many times by the time it's December and you have to do your performance reviews, honestly, you do not remember what you did in Jan, Feb, and March. In the early, anything, I think, before September or October, you barely remember. How many times I would go to my diary where I've taken my to-do list or taken notes on meetings, and I'm like, oh, I did this project in February. Yes, I remember now. And that's when you'll be like, yes, I need to add that to my performance review. I need to see what I did. So journaling is a really good way that helps you with reflection, because most of the time it reminds you. Sometimes you write side notes and be like, oh, this is badly organized, oh, this is good data. And you actually, so it's really a good habit. Hopefully you have a good note-taking platforms and setups that you're already working with. Feedback analysis, of course, that happens with the performance reviews, which is also point four. You get feedback from your peers, your bosses, from management, from any of your clients, people you work with. So it's really important to reflect on what some people are go overboard. They are the know-it-all, and they're always parting with unrequited and unasked for advice. Listen to them, right? Take it, reflect on it. If it makes sense, take it. It doesn't, and you think they're just simply jealous, tug it off. And then performance reviews, of course, these are always recorded. Hopefully, in your organization, it is always recorded. And you have them, you could always go back to them and assess, oh, this is where I was last year. This is what I corrected this year. What can I do for next year? And structured questions. And that is what we are going to work on today with the workbook that hopefully you have downloaded by now. All right. So this is a reflection wheel for self-assessment. Now, if you open to page 4 in your workbooks, it actually explains to you the definitions of the performance, skills development, collaboration, leadership, innovation, and balance, right? Performance, we all know you get KPIs from an organization, your company, there's organizational KPIs, visions and missions and whatever, and then there is ones that pertains to your whole team, and there's one that are specific to you. So there are 3 tiers of KPIs that employees usually receive. And the question is, how do you know them? How do you rate them? So that's your performance. Skills development is you assess the progress you made in enhancing existing skills and learning new ones relevant to your role. And collaboration is reflect on your ability to work with others. Okay. Like I said, some people can be challenging, but are you able to get over that and be a professional and deal with anyone, no matter who? Leadership. Now, people sometimes underestimate the thing that leadership, or have to have a handful of people that have to report to me in order for me to be a leader. Sometimes you're given a project to work on, and you're leading not necessarily only the people in your team, but you're leading the client and sort of explaining to them what is needed, what you expect from them. That is also leadership. Do you know what needs to be done and what's your expectation of your client or the supplier, right? That is a way to lead. Sometimes you step in as a leader without being called out as a leader. I remember about a year and a half ago, I was working on a project. We were a few people, from different departments, and we were asked to work on this really big project, and no one was assigned as a leader, and people were fumbling over where to start. And I am very good at laying down the grounds to where we start. Okay, I'm very good at like, okay, here's a starting point, I give it, and then sort of people can know where to go from. I draw that line, the start line for people. And so I kind of stepped in as the role of the leader. Now, eventually, later on, we voted in, including myself, I voted for someone else to be the leader to present in front of management because of their experience and knowledge of the whole project. But at the beginning, I stepped in as a leader. I assess that. That's my leadership skills that I would assess. And then innovation. How did you come up with solutions? You don't necessarily, people misunderstand innovation that I have to invent something or create technology. Even your problem solving is an innovation when you know to think outside the box and come up with a solution, an innovative solution that nobody's thought about. It's an outside of the box way of doing things. That's also a process. A new process is also an innovation. A new workflow is an innovation. All right. And balance. Again, we said the integration between your work and life. All right. Any questions at the moment? Do you guys are good?
Yes,
Wonderful.
yes, we are.
Thanks a lot. So now we're going to look at the next page, which is page 5. You'll see a table, right? And it has all the categories. Now, there's a lot of questions. You won't be able to go through them all. But for now, I ask you to give yourself a couple of minutes for the whole thing, just for the self rating. Rate yourself from a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and the 10 being the highest, on where do you think? And remember, no one else is looking at this, so please be extremely honest with yourself. Where do you think you rate yourself in performance, skills development, collaboration, leadership, innovation, and balance? Right? Where do you rate? Put a number right there. I will give you a couple of minutes to give it a thought and sort of consider where you have, where do you stand according to looking back at 2024 and all the things that you needed to do in these different categories. All right. So I will give you a couple of minutes now just to rate yourself.
Is it a percentage or maybe from 1 to 5 according
It's a
to?
1 to 10. 1 is being the lowest and the 10 being the highest. So
Okay.
like 10 is like, oh my goodness, I nailed my performance. I exceeded expectations. I'm going to be overconfident and plug in a 10, which I wouldn't advise because otherwise you won't leave yourself a room for improvement. But where, be honest, where do you feel you sit? Hope you saved your documents on the desktop because as you see, there are other questions that require time to think about, so you can answer them leisurely later on. We've got less than a minute. So hopefully you've answered all of them, right? Basically, what do you think? How much did you rate yourself on performance, on self skills development, collaboration, leadership, innovation, and balance? Okay, this helps you to understand where you are right now and how much further you need to go to reach to a 9. I'll always maximum ask you to put a 9 because at least you give yourself that tiny bit of space for improvement always. Never be satisfied entirely with where you are because that means you are not open to learning and developing any further. Keep that in mind. Now, if you go to the next page, these are a little more reflective. So again, because this is a reflection, so this is a reflection framework, right? So you need to take a moment to evaluate how well you performed in your role. So this is your performance. Did you meet or exceed expectations? Think about specific projects, tasks, goals that you achieved. Now, sometimes, which I think that's how organizations should really rate their employees instead of like they'll just go generally and say, oh, meets expectations on overall. Let's be honest, a lot of organizations do not like to put in exceeds expectations easily, which means, oh, you're ready for a promotion. And then the organization is not mentally ready to promote you. So that's always the challenge sometimes, right? But for your sake, I would say the best way to reflect on this, and this is where for now ask you to add notes and just thoughts, and then go back on your leisure time to put in the details that you think need to go there, is don't evaluate yourself overall performance. Your company is going to do that for you. Take your big projects, name them, and then each one of them, because sometimes I know, for example, in a year, let's say I had 5 huge projects. There'll be 2 projects that I know for a fact, and it's not egoistic, it is confidence, that I know I exceeded expectations. Like I went over and above and I gave it not my 200%, I gave it my 500% into these projects, and I've exceeded expectations. But there would be one project that, or because I exceeded expectations in this one, I kind of let this one slip. And I may be on this one project that is below expectations. And then the other two is meets expectations. I would ask you to evaluate yourself in that manner by project rather than all. Because when you do it by project, you will be able to understand why did you excel in some? Why were you fine? Now, when you meet expectations, that means you gave it your 100%. You needed, you gave it what you needed to give. All right. Below expectations is you gave an 80, a 90, even a 95 is a kind of a below expectation because the expectation is 100% of you onto this job. Worse is if you think that you gave a project 60% or 70. Why did I do that? Oh, you know what? Because I spent all my energy on this really big project and I gave it my 500%. That project could have done equally well if I just gave it 200%, that extra 300%. If I had allotted it to my this project, I would not have been below expectation. I would have maybe done an above exceed expectations overall. Sometimes when we go and ask management for a promotion or the sort of acknowledgement that we have exceeded expectations, we're staring and only focusing on those 2, 3 projects that we know we exceeded expectations. But stop. The organization gave you 5, 10 projects. Did you do that across the board? If not, why not? Right? This is how I want you to look at this question when you answer it. Right? Then reflect on the obstacles you encountered. Are there any tasks and situations that were particularly tough to handle? Again, be very honest to yourself. Now, we are not perfect. There are things that we don't know. We don't know how to do it or do not have the knowledge. If we don't have the knowledge, did I become an obstacle in my own way by being overconfident and not asking for help or not asking for information? Was I the reason? Be honest. Was I the reason? Was I the my own obstacle in my own way that stopped me from being the perfect version of what this project could have made me, right? And then look, we like to play the blame game. That's all in good when you're cribbing to your best friend, okay? But this is you. You have to be honest with yourself. Otherwise, you'll never learn. You'll never move to the next step. All right. And why was the obstacles challenging? Or you know what? I needed to ask information from XYZ, and X, Y, and Z have a terrible relationship. This person doesn't like me. I don't like this person. We cannot get into one room without fighting. Okay, so that was an obstacle and that was the challenge. Question is, what could I have done? Right? That's the next question. What is the challenges? What is the insights? Oh, you know what? Maybe if I got a mediator, maybe if I went to my colleague and I'm like, hey, look, I'm working on this project. This person and I don't get along. Could you help me? Could you please help me? There is no problem. And there's absolutely no fault in asking and help, right? Or maybe you can, this person has an assistant and you talk to the assistant, say, hey, hi, I need this information from your boss. Could you help get it? What insights, what could you have done? And then again, this is just an example. This is one of the things that could have been an obstacle, right? Maybe the time, they did not give you enough time. How could you have solved that problem? Maybe if you asked your boss and said, look, as me, myself, considering the time when you want a response, I can't do this on my own. I will need people to help me out. I need one or two people to be assigned. I don't mind being leader of this team tentatively until we reach this one. That shows your leadership skills. That shows initiative. That shows innovation, right? Did you do that? Be honest. Okay. Next one is focus on concrete examples to make your reflection more actionable. Again, go back to what actually happened and write it down. Sometimes if you write it as a story, or you know what, the best way to do it is start by telling your best friend, your work best friend, or your, not work best friend. And sometimes someone who's not in the situation would be able to give you an insight, right? Ask some, just have a chat, just crib and complain to someone that you know and trust. And then use examples. And then you can take with that conversation, write it down, and then do your own reflection, right? And then were you or your team together if, capable of improving a process or achieving a critical milestone? So put that in the reflection, right? And then reflect on your role as a leader. That's the next question. How did you support your team's success? Again, like I said, I may not have a team to lead, but I may have led a project. I may have led the work itself. The way I handled the work, I've not led people, I led the project by going to A, B, C, doing one, two, three. That is also leadership. Did it lead to success the way you did things? Okay. Now, a very important question that we will come to is, were you productive or just busy? We will get into that a little later. Hold that question until I give you some examples for that. All right. So for my participants for today, I have special offers. You know how it is. We have to make, since a free session, so we do have to make some offers and some advertising. Let's say, what, like we say in Arabic, fasal wa nawasal, right? So we have the Saturday Success series. We have a book that is about feedback. I've written a book that connects feedback to the love languages, and we've called it the appreciation languages. And I don't know if you know this, but the love languages, there are five: words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, quality time, and physical touch. What if you knew what is the appreciation language of your subordinate or your team, and you applied that when you're giving feedback, right? It is a booklet, and it has at the end of the booklet a lot of activities and questions and surveys that you can use to help you with this. And it's very short. You should be able to finish reading it in 2 hours. So if you purchase this book in December, there's a 50% discount if you use the code DEC for December 2024. And I will add a link of this in the chat for you if you're interested. And this is only for December. After that, the discount is not applicable, right? And the other thing is, as I said, I am a 10x business coach, and our usual price for a 10x business coaching session is 15,000 for 3 months, right? That's 5,000 per month, which actually covers, you have a 1.5 free consultation where we understand what is your need in coaching and the mentoring. And we sit and create a strategy, we create goals and plans and everything before we actually start the work. We have an hour meeting every week, a 24/7 support via email and WhatsApp. You get tracking tables. Every week we will go through wins and a tracking table. These were goals. What did you achieve? Why didn't you achieve it? What was the struggle? Let's work through those struggles. Let's brainstorm and work through critical thinking and problem solving, and you get all the extra. Now, if you sign up before January 10, that 15,000 package becomes 8,500 dirhams only, and more than 45% discount, and will also include, if you sign up by December 20, which is in a week, you get a free copy of the book. So you don't need the discount for the book, and a free recording of every Saturday Success series that goes on within your period. So if you sign up now and you get your coaching for January, February, and March, even if you don't attend the Saturday Success series sessions, you will get a recording of these sessions in your mailbox to benefit from. So if you're interested, you can send an email to info@tsgg.co. I will also plug it again in the chat for you to help. Right? That's our advertising break. Okay. So now let's go to the next one, is how do you recognize your 2024 wins? Before that, any questions, any comments, any things you guys want to say? Okay, I will take that as you have none.
We're good. Yes, we're good.
Good. Thank you, Fatma. So how do you recognize your 2024 wins? Okay. What is one specific project or task you excelled in this year? Let's be honest, there's always this one or two tasks the whole year that you'd be like, that's my baby. And if they ask you to do it 20 times, you will do it 20 times, and you'll always find an even better way to do it every single time. You're just in love with that project. That is your favorite thing. That was like, oh my goodness, if they give me something like this every single time, right? What is that project? Okay. And due to that project or projects, right? What skill or strength did you develop or improve? Sometimes you get this project and you love it and you believe in it. It's like, yes, this is it. And you realize it highlights certain strengths you have, but you realize in order to get this project completed, you need to learn something. You needed to go. Like I remember, like I said, I'm an attorney by profession. People assume that all I know is about contracts and everything, but there are certain projects. I'll give you an example. I was in an automotive industry, and uh, they have something called product liability, where if a customer comes and asks for claims there's a product defect, and we created a whole process. And I honest to God, that was one of my favorite projects that I had worked on. So much so that I would sit with the engineering team because I love cars and I love that whole this. But I would sit with the engineering team for hours just to sit and learn. the whole thing about there is something they call the airbag threshold, which I did not know about. And I would sit for hours, hear them speak technical terms. Sometimes, of course, they had to simplify it for me because I'm not an engineer, not studied engineering. But that passion for that part, I would sit there. And after a couple of years, they called me an honorary engineer because I would sit and discuss technical things with them, right? But I learned engineering certain there was something about delta V and all. I'm not going to go into it. It's boring for people who are not into the field. But that's a skill I improved in. I understood the field I'm in. I learned more about cars and a lot of the engineering part. A few years ago, I would have added that project and I would have added that is what I improved on, right? That is, and also the process, how I looked at a process and how I improved on. So these are the things you name, right? And what feedback or recognition did you receive that made you feel proud? People like, you know what, this is like an example of mine itself, going back to the same thing. They honestly said, this is an airtight process. This is the one of the best processes that is so well oiled, it's on autopilot. That made me proud. It was so good. I worked so hard. It was a project I liked. So you know some of these, right? And you make notes. This makes you feel good. You'll understand what is the project. This is your achievements, right? This is the projects I achieved. And then how do you understand why it is a project that you can consider as an achievement? Because I played on my strengths and I attained skills, improvement skills. And guess what? I got praise and recognition for the work that I did on this project. So this is how. So it doesn't be only one. Choose if you have three, four of these a whole year, 12 months. Oh, come on. You know, we have organizations, they'll squeeze the blood out of us. So I'm sure you'll have five, six projects like that, right? Put each one and put them through the grinder and answer these questions for each and every project you have. All right. Okay, so that's how you recognize. Now, understanding your challenges. This is where, remember the first question, the first reflection I told you, pause. So there is a difference between being productive and being busy. Okay, there are a lot of people that look busy, but they're not productive. They're just busy. They just keep themselves. There was actually, I think, remember one of Murphy's laws is like if you have a clipboard and walk around the office too fast, people will assume you have a lot of work. Okay. I'll give you a very good example of what is productive versus busy. Okay. And busy is you're busy, but you're really just wasting time. It's helping nobody. And you're just showing you're like, okay, I'm busy. I have a lot of things to do, but no results. It has absolutely zero impact on your business, on your results, or even on your colleagues' part, right? An example is let's say that you are curating a spreadsheet, right? Now you're curating spreadsheet and it has data, and the data differs, of course, if you are in sales, after sales, marketing, and even as legal or admin, we all curate spreadsheets because we want data organized. Now, if I am creating a spreadsheet that only I am going to look at, right? I'm the one who's creating it. I know what fields are there, why I'm adding it. I'll just plug in. I want the data. I just want the data in cells so I can compare and I know it and that's it. So I'll just plug it in, spend maybe 10, 15 minutes creating a nice template for it. Done. These is the data I want. Honest. That is productive. Now, if I go and try to beautify it and make exact lines and borders and color and explain each and every cell, Shaima, there's no one else but you going to look at that spreadsheet. What are you doing? It's not like you have to present it to management who don't know the background and they should be able to read that spreadsheet in your absence. If you send it by email, You should be able to. Shaima, no one else is going to read that spreadsheet. What are you doing? And I spend an hour, two explaining that is busy. I did that spreadsheet. I know exactly what's in it, why it's there. Why do I need to sit 2 hours with borders and colorings and explanation of categories? And that spreadsheet is supposed to help me be efficient and save time so I can finish the project faster, so I can pay attention. That's like the 500%. You put in, you need 300%, but I added 200%. That's probably maybe just being busy. All right. Now, if I'm going to share it with management or even my colleagues, and I should be able to have them to understand that spreadsheet. If I send it by email, like, okay, I'm working till 9 p.m. and I shoot the email, right? And let's say I'm not in the office the next day, I'm out for meetings. And if my colleagues have to look at that spreadsheet because I am not there to answer any questions, they should be able to understand it. Then, yes, that 1, 2 hours makes sense because someone else is supposed to understand it in my absence. So, get it? The difference between productivity and busy. And unfortunately, you have a lot of colleagues around you that are just busy. They'll get on calls just for the sake of getting calls. And you know how this is such a pet peeve for me. Something that can be done in an email in 5 minutes, someone will drag you into a 45 minutes or a 1 hour meeting. Why? Let's ask ourselves, can this be done in an email or a message? Can we solve it in an email or message instead of wasting everyone's time? Okay. I don't like meetings like that absolutely add no value. And my participation is literally 2 minutes or zilch, right? But some people look for these because they appear to be busy. And they're like, oh, I had work. I was in 8 meetings today and it was, so much work. So that's the difference. I hope I clarified, and I hope you guys are able to identify when you're being just busy and when you're being productive so that you can always move forward, right? So based on that, right, uh, we are going to do understanding your challenges, which is the next on your workbook sheets, the questions, right? So what was the most significant challenge you faced at work, right? A few years ago, I had an unbelievable challenge. I had a manager who was setting me up for failure. All right. They gave me a project and they refused to give me any data, any information on it. And they're like, solve the problem. I'm like, what problem am I solving from? What's the data? Nothing, right? Literally nothing. They were setting me up for failure. And that's where the problem solving and critical thinking skill sets kicked in. And I'm very proud to say it was one of the projects where I actually exceeded expectations, not only met expectations. So the point is, what is the most significant challenge you faced at work? Note it down. Okay, it could be a disgruntled boss. It could be a colleague. It could be the project itself. It it's just incomplete. It is the main core and the main thing is not in your hand, is in the hand of another team. I recently also worked on a project like that where another team in the global had to first lay the foundation so we can do our job, but they weren't there doing their job. And it's like, we're going to miss our deadlines because you're not doing your work. How do we handle this? Okay. And so, what do you think contributed to this challenge? Do an assessment of it. Uh, where was the problem? How did we go through it? What was it? Was it the team? Was it the work? Was it, oh, we were not ready because we don't have the enough data? We did not do research. What was it? Resources, maybe. We don't have the application, or we do not have the data, or we do not even have enough people. Or you know what, you need to finish this in 2 weeks. Yeah, but I am only one person. I need three more people. Resources also could be a challenge. And how did you handle the situation? And what could you do differently next time? Right? So this is how you understand your challenges. If I had more control, what could have been done? Or you know what? I still don't have control. What could I have done? Maybe went and followed up a month before because I knew, like, do I have the foresight for it? Okay. And do you recognize that work has been productive versus work just being busy? Right? And then you answer even the question, have you been productive versus busy? Were you just filling hours in your working day, sitting on your seat and thinking, yeah, I've been doing work. I'm doing what I'm being paid for, and it's just busy, zero results. Be honest with yourself. Have you been productive? Let's be honest. And I will say that to myself too. You just can't be productive every single day. Let's say we get 30 days or 22 working days leave, but let's say 30 days because 365 days a year. So that's 335 with weekends and everything. Let's say 300 days. Can you be productive day in, day out for 9 hours for 300 days? Not possible, right? But do you recognize when there's small slip ups of being busy versus long term pretense of busy, right? I'm here just to waste time. I'm just going to sit over here and pretend I'm in a meeting. I'm not needed in a meeting, but hey, I want to join that meeting just to fill my hours because I don't feel like being productive. And that's where burnout comes in and mental and everything, but that's a different topic, right? But it is good to understand, did your challenges, maybe your challenge was burnout, maybe your challenge was demotivation, maybe your challenge was, I don't feel like working, I don't like this work, whatever it is. That also falls into the list of challenges, right? So be very honest with yourself. That's very important. Any questions for this part? You're good? Yes. Huh, Fatma, you're clapping. I thought you were raising your hand. You had a question. Thank you. All right. So the next one is assessing your current stance. So, what is your overall feeling about your professional journey in 2024? Overall, are you satisfied? You think you did good? Do a scale of 1 to 10. Did you do what needs to be done to make your 2025 great? Or did you fall short on your own productivity? Were the reasons you? Forget the team. I could be stuck with a nasty team. I could be stuck with a terrible boss, but my own satisfaction. Did I give it my all? All right. What is your overall feeling? What are the 3 words to describe your current professional stance? For this, I want you to think of it now. Okay, I will give you a minute or 2 minutes. I think I'll give you 2 minutes. All right.
Two
Think
minutes,
of
yeah.
3 words. Yeah, yeah. 3 words that describe your current professional stance. We are 2 weeks away from the end of 2024. Thus far, where where you are professionally, put 3 words in there. I will give you 2 minutes starting now. I think I'll actually answer this for myself too. You got 30 seconds. Okay. I hope you guys had a chance to put in your 3 words. Would anyone like to share? I'll make you laugh. What's the one on my list? I put actually improved and mature. I think in 2024 I improved myself and I got mature. I handled things I think in a mature manner and I'm inquisitive. So anyone wants to share? Even in the chat? And I thought I was shy. Okay, like I said, this workbook is for you, so this is between you and you. Now, the next one is what is one area you feel most confident in and one area you would like to improve? Now, I have a thing for the previous question. Give yourself a few days and then answer this question again. See that have you changed your stance, your thought from now because we're in a session and a week after when you've given it more thought. I've got learned, knew what I actually need. That's wonderful, Fatma. That's very good. Thank you for sharing. So the next one is what is one area you feel most confident in? That's one thing. And the other one is one area you would like to improve, right? I'll give you a minute for this one. For example, I know myself, I'm very confident in public speaking and training. I'm very confident on that. Ironically, the one I need to improve on is networking. I'm an introvert, and one of my friends, she always laughs at me and she says, she sends me this meme and says that, um, an introvert, the only way an introvert can go out is if an extrovert adopts them. So I'm up for adoption, if anyone is interested.
That's true. Same here.
Okay, great. So then we're two of us that are up for adoption if anyone wants. Okay. All right. So I hope you have your answer in for this one, assessing your current stance, as in what is the one that you are confident in and what is the one area you would like to improve on. Now, this comes to the last part of our workbook. Now, you may want to discuss this session more, or you have some more questions. I know that we had a few people on the call that may have wanted to maybe shy to ask any questions or anything. So then you can go on our website, tsgg.co, and you can actually book a 20 minutes free on the calendar and we can have a one-on-one and go through any of these questions that you want to deep dive, you want to ask other questions pertaining to how do you assess your 2024 performance and the understanding, the reflection, how do you assess it. So feel free to go up and just to remind you, of course, that you can avail my book for 50% discount if you use the code December 2024. And this is only for the month of December. After that, the book is going to be at full cost. And of course, if you want to book a 10x business coaching session, again, until January 10, it is at discounted rate. After that, it will be at the full price. So if do you guys have any questions or any comments or anything? here, this is your chance. Well, it's not like, okay, speak now or forever keep your peace. You can always talk to us and reach to us by an email. But if you have any questions right now, I would love to answer. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me this Saturday morning. I enjoyed parting with hopefully what you may find as valuable information for this session. And again, if you need time one on ones to discuss and go through things, I'm happy to do that. And if you need, further assistance and help on things, I would be happy for providing my support for all that. So thank you very much again. Have a lovely weekend and enjoy. And
Thank you,
hopefully you
Shaima.
have a wonderful, wonderful 2024 and a 2025 ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Shaima. That was very
Thank,
insightful. Thank you.
thank you very much, my dear. Take care.